When we cut off this month of June, we will be very certain that we have finished the first half of the year 2021 by the Gregorian calendar. But by the Islamic calendar, we are in the month of Shawwal 1442 after Hijrah. My name again is Ikaro Atta. Well, constitutional amendment is something many persons look up to. When you follow very keenly with so much interest here, you observe that it has become one very difficult task to fulfill across in years past under Nigerian democracy. I mean, since 1999. The one that was keenly followed was the one that was held in 2006, 2007 under former President Olusegun Obasanjo. That was the one that many thought was really very beautiful. But a clause in that amendment process, the third term agenda, spearheaded by then Deputy Senate President Ibrahim Mantul, was very problematic. And when it got to the floor of the Senate, the likes of late Senator Idris Kuta, Chukwu Merije, and Yasule Yarigandi threw it away. And all the effort for almost a year or several months here was all gone with the drain. And many persons raised questions. So why will you throw out the baby with the bathwater? And since then, it appears as though Nigerians have not learned from history. Subsequent National Assembly decided to actually amend Constitution. And when they try it, just a single clause will have everything being thrown away or somehow deny presidential assent. As we speak now, there are gatherings going on across the country with a view to gather the interest of stakeholders towards another constitutional amendment. Where there are others who are as well saying that the nation needs a confab where stakeholders will come and sit down to discuss burning national issues. Well, our guest for this morning is Samaila Musa, a public affairs analyst and the director of strategy and programs, Coalition of Northern Groups. We'll be looking at the constitutional amendment and critical issues arising. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Let's quickly, I hit the ground running now. I give a prelude to history that happened, and it's as though we have not learned from it when we amend Constitution.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny actually, because you see, we keep having this kind of jamboree almost every time. You know, I can tell you for a fact that from previous amendments that have been done, there are
amendment processes. Because the amendment
processes,
died.
yeah, they died.
When
you know,
the
I mean, for previous amendment processes from the past, we have reports, recommendations, and all of that gathering dust in some offices or in wherever it is in their archives. Both the legislative and the executive have most of these things, and nothing is being done about it. So really, I just laugh when I hear this kind of thing.
But what about the ones we are having now? People are going around the country making requests, bringing critical issues on ground. But let's take the issues point by point. Let's look at what we are all bringing to the fore here. One of the issues raised is the issue is that of power devolution. Many are believing that there is too much power at the center, that we should devolve power so that the states will become stronger and all federating components will have very stronger strength so that the regions can be properly developed.
Yeah, it's a welcome development if that will be done. You know, devolution of power is welcome. I mean, there have been so many agitations and so many clamor for, you know, devolution of powers, even from state governors who have seen where, at the state level, where people are saying, devolve power, let local government have some level of, you know, autonomy and all of that. So really, it's something that it's going to be very laudable if it's something we can actually practice in this
when they bring this conversation in, they are bringing it in on ground that the federal is very powerful. That let the state become powerful, although the state as well don't want the local government and the judiciary to become powerful.
Yeah, I mean, for obvious reasons, you know, because you see the system we have in Nigeria is once you're number one, at any particular time you want to have every power, you want everything, and you know it's majorly political, not because you have the interests of the people at heart, but because of political power, you just want to hold everywhere and make sure that it's only your loyalists that are this and that, and nobody does anything without taking others from you, which is really a backward development.
But is it what about state governors? Are they different either?
The same thing.
What about councillors, even councillors?
Yeah, it's the same thing. You see, the mentality really needs to change. And I think that has to be a top-bottom approach because, I mean, once you see what's happening at the top, you also want to follow suit. You understand? So, but it doesn't help anyone Because if we all have the interest of the country at heart, we have the interest of the people who we are coming in to serve at heart, we should know. Me, for instance, as a state governor, I should know that I can't be everywhere. You understand? The local government chairman knows better in terms of his own terrain. You understand? And knows what his people want. So really, everyone needs to exercise some level of power. I mean, in terms of responsibility, to say, okay, you go ahead and do this. You have the power to do this and that, and that is going to move this country forward.
But now, if we extract that devolution of power, there's also fear that we have secessionist agenda coming, or in agendas in the southwest, the southeast, that when the governors become powerful, we may likely snowball into a position where some of them can even seek a breakup.
Well, of course, now that they don't have that, what are we saying? You understand? So if you are afraid of this, but it's already happening, so why not you give this a try? I mean, it's like a litmus test. You understand? What you have on ground right now is not working. Has this stopped the clamor for the secession agenda or something? It hasn't done anything in that regard. So I think that fear is already been taken care of, if really they are serious.
Okay, now the other one is the issue of fiscal federalism. That resource control. We control what our region brings. What's your take?
You see, for now, I think really that's not the problem of Nigeria.
But that's what the agitators, some of them,
that's been on for some times now.
Okay,
you understand? There are key issues why some of those things keep coming on or keep reoccurring over time.
Okay.
You see, Nigeria's future rests largely on some of these indices, that needs to be addressed. Some of these constraints.
What are they?
You see, the constraint of equity and justice, that has to be taken seriously. You understand? Because
equity in what sense?
Equity in the sense that, from those areas where you're hearing these things about, let us control our resources and all of that, they feel based on what the resources is being gotten from their area, they are not getting equitable resources in terms of allocation and all of that. But that's not really the case. The allocations are going. The people, the government of that state or those areas themselves are the ones surcharging the people.
Now, if you are saying this, it sounds a lot beautiful now. When you're talking about equity and justice, the people there believe that the other region is the one taking their money, because the political elite who gets 13% or whatever have convinced them that, as far as we are concerned, we would have developed your place if not for the fact that the other people, the other area, are taking what belongs to you.
But the figures are there.
How many people know about it?
Those who
are agitating, they don't know about it. They know that their governors come to Abuja every month and share money and take back.
They know.
Why don't
Perhaps maybe to what extent is what I can't tell. Maybe
but
they are asking questions.
They're not
maybe
asking them questions there.
Yeah, you see, that's why it has some undertone of politics. You understand? Where I'll try to cover up for my failure, so I try to divert your attention to say no. That's the guy who's making you suffer, not me per se. Whereas I can't give you, I can't be accountable to the resources or to the allocation I have been given. You understand? These are, like I said sometimes back, it's given. Sometimes when these allocations come, the governor can beat his chest before it comes that, look, I can tell you that I'm going to get X amount of money. I mean, I'm going to help me price this house. I'm going to pay for it at the end of this month. It's given. You understand? So really, it's something that even before it comes, it's been spent already. You understand? So, and that's why the people need to start asking questions. Look inward and start asking questions. Start holding your leaders accountable for whatever resources has been given.
In terms of equity and justice, some are saying that sometimes they don't get their fair share of representation at the federal level. Do you share this thought?
Well, it's a relative term, actually, because you see, for some of us from the northern part of Nigeria, we feel if there's any time the North has ever been so changed in any administration, this is actually the time.
Are you sure?
I'm telling you the truth.
Southeast is feeling that they have been so short.
Well, of course, there are some instances. I tell you for a fact.
From the North are feeling that way.
I tell you,
the Southeast will be saying.
There are some instances where, perception management ought to come to play. I mean, just like the issue of the chief of army staff that was just being replaced. I mean, after the death of the Coas recently, one will expect that this administration will, as a matter of, trying to take care of the perception of the people, which goes a long way in governance, to say, okay, out of the people qualified, do we have some people from the Southeast who actually command this position? Let us have their profile.
But are we even supposed to be discussing region or competence or religion or tribe? Are we supposed to be talking about it?
Because some people have succeeded in brainwashing some people. And that's why, some people have succeeded in brainwashing us.
We talk about tribe and religion in a way that competence is barely mentioned at all.
You understand? And that is why you have this clamor, these agitations, this secessionist agenda.
So you are saying that they would have given the Southeast the chief of army staff,
yes,
to give them a fair sense of belonging.
Because it goes a long way in perception management to say, okay, it reduces some of this clamor you hear here and there to say, okay, we give it. You understand? Even if you have to now put some other people around him, even if you feel, he needs some, you understand, some people around him to guide him in some area you feel he's not experienced that much enough. But just to make sure that, because number one thing you want to achieve is to make sure that there's peace in the country. That is when there's peace, that's when we start talking about some other developmental issues. Other than that, we're just wasting our time. Because the money, there's nothing compared to just within the space of 3-4 days, you see the number of lives lost already. So what are we talking about? You saw yesterday in the Southeast, there was a sit at home and everything. The economy was virtually grounded. You understand? So really, if you want to make any meaningful impact, you have to make sure that whatever you need to do to make sure there is peace, please do that, so that we can move forward. And from there, you start taking care of other issues.
You're saying that the constitutional amendment that is going on, the critical issues being raised are occasioned by perceived injustice?
By some, largely, by perceived injustice. There are some other things, we need to have a functional structure. Nigeria...
Like what functional structure?
You see, there is nothing that is actually functional as far as I'm concerned. The security architecture is not functional. You understand? So you wonder, what are we talking about? You want to, okay, if you say you have taken care of this, taken care of that to make sure there is peace, what about the security architecture? Who is manning this? And what are they putting in place? The money they are collecting for that, what are they using it for? What is the follow-up processes to say, we have to ensure, just not just issuing out the money, not just giving out the money. We have to ensure that it's been spent justifiably.
They're also complaining that the money is not so much enough as what we hear, that sometimes there are not enough releases on the finance ministry.
Because 70% of what is released is going to some other people's pockets. You understand? The person who is there knows who brought him to power, so he needs to take care of them part-time. You get what I'm saying? So really, it's actually an institutional problem. There's no any functional structure on ground to take care of whatever you want to put there.
But we've complained this from time immemorial. Yeah. From independence, we've been complaining 1960, since our imperialists left. We thought the imperialists were the problem. We believed and we are convinced through the good words of Tafawa Balewa, Ahmadu Bello, Azikiwe, Awolowo, that if these people leave, who are our problem, we can govern ourselves and become better. And we got that, and we had since then moved from one coup d'etat to another coup d'etat. In 1979, we brought in Shagari. Later on, we done the coup d'etat. We came back to democracy. We still keep complaining that the system doesn't function. Is there anything wrong with us, or are we wrong with something?
Something is wrong with us as a people, and that's why we need some mental check, some mental analysis to really know what exactly is that problem with us. Because you see, the same people who you are on the side of the fence, agitating together, crying together and all of that, the moment they cross to the other side of the divide,
they get their interest.
You understand? So you begin to wonder. Some of them, we've been in the struggle together, and all of a sudden they became this and that. And the mentality also changed. And so you're wondering, are we sick upstairs? Something must be wrong somewhere.
Okay, now coming to critical issues now. The issues of fiscal federalism is one that I know that people are bringing to the fore, particularly the South and some other oil producing states. They are clamoring very heavily that, look, we need to have nothing less than 50% of the resources from our land.
How many percent are they having now?
13% derivation.
13% derivation, but that has not been spent justifiably.
But they have been told if they get more, they will spend it.
I mean, that is the handwork of the politicians who is
But
manipulating
they are keeping
them.
the conversation in the front burner.
Yeah, but you see, it's really a deficit in leadership. I mean, it's manipulation, because the 13% you're giving. I mean, if I give you 1,000 naira, and I mean, go get some stuff for the house, and you went to the market, you came back with a broom out of 1,000 naira. Do you get what I'm saying? And you see, when you look at, so of what importance is the broom in the house? But I'm telling you that, I'm now telling you, or you are not giving me the excuse to say the broom is actually for sweeping. And people are saying, no, but we are hungry. Why didn't you try and buy food first? Out of 1,000 naira, you can buy gari or at least something. Do you get what I'm saying? But you are saying, no, let's sweep first and let's ask them for more. You understand? So the 13% you're getting is not as if it's 10 naira. What have you done with it? We have had instances where the state governor will virtually not struggle to even construct maybe 100 kilometers of road, and yet he has houses abroad just within the space of time he became governor. And we're talking about millions of dollars, millions of pounds, and all of that. So there must be, I mean, people need to be very, very responsive and very responsible for whatever they are giving to spend, I mean, to work in their states. If that is not done, this is what we'll be getting. They keep manipulating people to say, it's because we are not getting enough. But I mean, I can see.
But if you are doing this, the fundamental fact is, they are saying that as far as they are concerned, in the First Republic, we had issues where we had some regional power to control resources. We saw the Granite Pyramid booming in Kano. The cocoa was booming in the southwest. The palm oil and others, we are doing very well in the southeast. That because of this unitary system, where we all now come together to a common pot, every time we bring a knife and share at the federal level here every month, and we return back. That's why every component appears to be so lazy to generate funds, generate resources and revenue to run their individual federating states. That should this be done, that the country can fire from all cylinders, based on the fact that the states, according to them, will become viable.
Who is responsible for doing this that you just mentioned? It's government.
But they are putting the blame on top of the federal government.
Yes, the federal government is responsible for that. The federal government is the one responsible ab initio for shifting people's mentality from all this agrarian economy that you were talking about and making them believe that there's oil somewhere, and if we have oil, we don't need to bother ourselves with other things. The right structure is not in place to help people. Or why didn't we maintain that? How did we? Because you need to go to the genesis how they fell out from that in ab initio. You understand? So you need to retrace your step back. It's not as if the people in this part of the country are still not into agriculture. But what changed? How did we find ourselves here? You understand? Because especially during the military regime, everybody's mentality is towards the oil. Both the people who knows what is oil and those who don't know became oil, merchants overnight and all of that, because it's like a money ritual. You know, so when this goes on and every facet or every head of government in everywhere begin to look at that, then the people start looking towards that direction to say, okay, it seems this is not the right way to go. This is not thriving anymore. So this is the way to go. So it's the federal government's
okay, but now also within the issue of fiscal federalism here, there's also the talk of some states are being so lazy and not able to generate revenue to run their states.
Again, that's still an issue of leadership. The people need to understand, begin to check people who are coming with different kind of manifesto during campaigns and all of that, to really know who and who, other than just dishing out peanuts for you to go and queue and vote for this person. you shouldn't try to, vote for the right candidates that will bring developmental issues. Development to your state, rather than people who they have paid for what you are doing to them. It's been paid for, really. So in some cases, you don't even have the right to complain. And that's why in some cases, the people who should be raising this red flag to say, oh, this is not why you have voted, they have collected money during the campaign, so they can't say anything. You understand? They have paid them for that. That I'm not coming here to do anything other than just to, blow siren all around the place. You understand? Because common sense, just go to the market and look for market people. They can give you ideas on how to generate funds in a state.
Okay, quickly now, let's before our time is running.
Okay.
What about the issue of lobby? Because what I see, we're not doing so much of lobby here, because most people don't understand what the constitutional review entails. They thought going around the state, everyone speaking is just home and dry. Everything is going to come back to the green and the red chambers. When they are done from that point, they take it back to the State House of Assembly before they now come for President's assent. It's a long, hectic process here. Yeah. But it appears as if there is so much threat than lobby.
Yeah, because that's what the people are meant to believe. That is when you threaten them, when you issue out statements, divisive statements, then they become jittered and begin to dance to your tunes. But all over the world, in advanced democracies, lobbying is a normal thing. It happens everywhere.
We're not seeing lobby going on here.
Yeah, because you see that the people have been brainwashed to say, no, it's by your threats, it's by your words, your actions. You kill 10 people there, kill 100 on the other side, and issue statement and say this is the reason why, and if this is not looked into, this is what is going to be happening. You understand? So, and it's unfortunate that we find ourselves at this stage that everything has to go through violence. You have to, you want to issue out a statement, you have to kill people or someone a previous day before you make your statement. It's really, really unfortunate. It's sad that Nigeria is at this point. And that's why there is actually need for, a reorientation as to let people know what governance is all about.
Before I let you go quickly now, there is also a school of thought that believe that the 1999 Constitution is not our own.
Yeah.
That it was forced on us by the military. That the clause that we, the people of Nigeria, does not represent us. That what we need is not constitutional amendment, but the new constitution going forward. What's your take before I let you go?
Yeah, well, I will support a new constitution in total, but you see, this timing is actually wrong. We have insecurity issues that we're dealing with, and some people are doing jamborees all around the place. You need to go and check the figure of how much is a mark for this little, constitution amendment going on around about 12 places in the country. This is not the right time for all those things. Can we begin to look at immediate, short-term solution to the issue of insecurity? People are dying in their thousands every day. Before we now look at, okay, in the interim where we're trying to put up the, long-term, solution to that, can we begin to look into what can we do for now before we start talking about having a new constitution altogether? You understand? Because if we look into some of these agitations where there are killings, some are genuine. You begin to capture some of these things into the new constitution. But first and foremost, the right thing to do now is to make sure that the killings, the insecurity, the kidnappings is to a large extent.
Okay, reduce some stuff. Yeah. Thank you very much. Asmaila Musa, a public affairs analyst here, Director of Strategy and Programs, Coalition of Northern Groups here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
having me. We pray and hope that the killings and others subsides very quickly so that we can move on here. But one thing, Cardinal, like what we've seen before, when it comes to constitutional amendment, it's going to go to the National Assembly, and that is the semi-final stage. It will still go back to the State House of Assembly before it now returns back to the President and Commander-in-Chief. It's a long process here. But in all of this, we pray we have a better country that we all can be proud of. When we return from the break, we put on stage political conversation after this break.